Hello everyone, this here is yet another Panasonic 8-track player that I got on eBay. This is a model number RS-833S, made in Japan. Now, this is an unfortunate eBay whoopsie, if you will. Probably underpacked, to be completely honest. However, this is kind of something I wasn't expecting to be brittle plastic when I saw it. So I guess I kind of understand the seller not maybe packing it quite as well. I mean, I can't say it wasn't packed well, but it should have been in a bigger box, definitely. However, I did talk to the seller, and they gave me some of my money back. And the money that I spent on this would be worth it for the mechanism that is in this. So there's that, I suppose. In its current state, I bought it knowing that there's something wrong. However, like the previous one, it actually does partially work. Of course, we've got some problems with the volume control. As you can see, the handle's bent. This is how it was before the eBay whoopsie, so that's nothing new. Now, the major issue with this, and I've heard that is a problem with a lot of these, is it won't really change program. So grease is gummed up in there. We're going to fix that. And then obviously the other issue is the volume control on the left is having very little influence on the speaker and is crackling and popping, and the right needs some work too. So this should be a pretty simple tear down. Very simple device here. Just some cosmetic stuff and grease, I think, and this should be good to go. In fact, the mechanism doesn't appear to be cracked. This has, I believe, the same, or well, it's not exactly the same, but it's a very similar mechanism to what is in the RS-833S, I believe is that model, with the radio in it. So it's got a decent mechanism. See, it's very slowly going before there. Anyway, let's pop this thing open. Alrighty, well, I've just gotten into this and I barely brushed my hand against a piece of plastic and it broke off. So we're already off to a good start here. I don't believe I see any cracks on the mechanism, that's a good sign. Definitely going to need to figure out how to pop this out. How does this come out? Well, first off, let me just start throwing a little bit of, what do we think, silicone oil? Is that reasonable? I don't know, we just want something to get it moving. Really should be re-greased, but I just want to get some stuff moving here. See if I can get this mechanism to function. Okay. I love setting alarms for myself and forgetting about them. That's my favorite thing. So I will have to actually leave here in a moment. But I want to at least get this thing spinning up, and I have confidence that this is simple enough. I just need to grease the right, or lubricate the correct thing. Button's happy. No, I think we need to lubricate this piece of plastic, but I don't understand how this comes apart. Because this just... Oh, okay, that didn't break. That's how that's supposed to work. Okay, cool. Alrighty. I have an idea. And this may be crazy enough. Is that very crazy, very stupid? Let's see. I drip some oil down this. I am going to put it back together and test it. If we're good for now, I'm going to come to a stopping point here. I got to go do something else. We'll go back in. I don't want to break anything. I feel like this thing's going to shatter. You know, the seller offered to take this back, but in my infinite wisdom, I decided, oh yeah, let me just keep it for a partial refund. And like I said, honestly, it's worth the mechanism. So I'm not, okay, there we go, that's how that goes. I'm not too fussed about this. It is unfortunate, but this was in, I don't want to say rough shape. I feel like this would have cleaned up pretty well, and I think it still will. The crack's on the back, at least the major one is. So, well, of course, now I've just broken off a chunk of plastic there. Okay, give it a little run here. See how this works. We are happy now. The mechanism is happy. So there is that. So for the time being, I'm going to put this back on, and I am going to spray some contact cleaner in the controls, and we will come to a stopping point, and I will get back to this at a later date, because this is now a functional machine, I would say. So that's all that needed. Now let me spray some contact cleaner in the potentiometers and fix that up. Okay. I'll give them this. The seller has been very helpful. I have never experienced this before, but when I bought this, the seller had done one of those offers on it. Like they offered me $10 less than what it was originally going for. I was like, okay, I'll grab it. Well, when I bought it, I don't know if I did something wrong or eBay bugged out, but it just charged me full price. And I talked to the seller about it, and they were very helpful. They were like, yeah, okay, well, let's get you the lower price like I'd offered. And so, at least they were very helpful about it. And, like I said, they did offer to do a return, and I was just like, I have to send it back. And that's a whole hassle. I don't know why I'm doing a cutless video this time. I guess this is just how I'm doing this video. I'm trying something a little new here. I know some people like to watch people just ramble on. I normally like to make my videos a bit shorter, but I guess this one will be a longer one. Although I guess it depends on how much I cut it. So I may be just lying to you right now. Alright. So we're good now. So I'm gonna reassemble it and take a break from this because I gotta, like I said, I gotta go do something else. I lied. I actually did go fix the handle real quick just because I was in here, but all I did was put it on my vise and straighten it out. Alright, so because I've got this working, I've decided to start messing around with some cosmetic stuff. Now, there was this sort of weird scuzz on the front that I've tried cleaning off with just Windex and it didn't come off. I used some fine scratch remover and that got it off. And you can see the plastic's actually polishing out really well. I did it like kind of up in here. I've also done it on this side. There's this blemish from, I don't know what this is, maybe some sort of chemical, but I feel like I'm going to have to use the heavy scratch on that. So I'll use the heavy scratch remover, and if it works well on this plastic, I'll try it on the acrylic there and see what it does. Alright, decided to use a little bit of very fine sandpaper, so let's see how this turns out. Well, this is definitely an improvement. I feel like I could probably sand down a little lower and maybe get more of that gunk out of there, but I'm also not entirely sure if that's just the plastic deeply discolored. You can see the shine there that it has, and yeah, there's some scuff marks, but it's better than what it was. Alright, this is the front after being novused and washed a few times. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'm really going to be able to get these holes here cleaned. This has that same scuzz that was on the program indicator. Again, though, if you look at it in the right light, you can kind of see that the plastic's physically been, like, it's almost like there's tiny little air bubbles in the plastic. So, like, that plastic's like chemically changed or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what was spilled on this, if it was hot wax or, just some sort of cleaning chemical. Maybe acetone got on it at some point. I don't know, maybe someone was doing their nails. These have improved a bit. I tried a bunch of stuff on this. I tried lighter fluid, I tried alcohol, which of course I tested on the back to make sure it wouldn't discolor the plastic. And then I actually put some Novus on a Q-tip and got in there, and I mean, it kind of worked, kind of got some of it out, but I think I'm just kind of beating a dead horse with this. So I'm going to leave it alone for now. But the rest of it came out pretty good, though. Of course, this side does have a crack on it. I'll probably use epoxy if we have any. So now I'm going to take apart the rest of it and get the back out. Probably not going to do too much polishing on the back, maybe just on the sides, you know, to make it look a little nicer. But I'm definitely going to clean it. Alrighty, I'm going to mix up some epoxy and try and strengthen this crack from the back as best as I can. Not going for perfect, but anything's better than this. I mean, I feel like that's just a hazard waiting to happen, having it that broken. It doesn't look like this is affected too much, but yeah, I'm just gonna like glob it on, honestly. I might scuff it up a bit with some sandpaper to get better grip. In fact, you know what? Yeah, I'll actually do that. And then I'll lay this stuff on. Definitely not pretty, but I think that'll hold up. I might put a little bit more on this edge of the crack here, but I don't even know if that's going to be necessary. I mean, in the middle there, it's just about as thick as the plastic, so I think it'll be okay. I've put epoxy on the front, on this bottom crack here. Just got some tape there holding it in place. I put some, well, I guess it decided to move a little bit. I put some super glue on these. I tested it on that plastic. The super glue does not discolor the plastic. You know what? I think it's coming together. It's definitely not perfect up here, but that's a very small portion. And there was a little bit of squeeze out here. I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to lightly sand that and then polish it, or if I'm just going to leave it as is. It's not really too noticeable from the front. And, you know, I mean, this thing is not in pristine condition, but it's definitely better than it was before. I'm going to let all that stuff cure, and I'll be back to reassemble everything. The epoxy appears to have cured, so I'm going to put this back together now. Alrighty. This little thing is put back together. Not perfect, of course. You know, there we go. We had the cracks here. But they've been reinforced with epoxy on the other side, as stated. And the program indicator has been sanded and polished out to get most of that, I don't know what that was, acetone or something that got in there. Some sort of chemical or hot wax. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, it's gone. See how the top cleaned up? You know, I like to complain about these earlier portables having separate left and right volume controls rather than just one, you know, volume control and a balance knob. But the way Panasonic did it on this one, where you can actually turn both like at the same time, I actually appreciate that. I'm okay with this one. Anyway, let's do a little demo. Got some Michael Jackson. Actually pretty impressed with how this thing sounds. When I got it and saw that it had 2-inch speakers, I was like, oh man, this thing's going to sound kind of crunchy. But honestly, for what it is, it's really not that bad. Now, this takes 6 C-cell batteries. It's a 9-volt system. The newer one I have, that other Panasonic from the early 80s, that one only takes 4 C-cells, which I find rather interesting. Now, I would say that that one does sound better than this one, being that it has slightly larger speakers, and but it probably has a more efficient amplifier in it. For what I ended up paying after the partial refund, $30, you know, and the bit of labor I had to put into it, honestly, I'm okay with it. It's a cool shelf piece. It works. I can take it to the beach or something if I want to. It's pretty portable, and it really doesn't sound too bad. This actually has some decent depth to it. I mean, granted, not as good as the other one, obviously not as good as a stereo system, like a full stereo system, but I mean, I gotta give it to it for what it is. It sounds pretty damn decent, and this is on the original capacitors. I haven't touched the capacitors in it, and to my ears, it sounds fine. This isn't something that's going to get used much, so unless something goes wrong with it, I don't have any plans on changing the capacitors. Anyway, that is all for now. Thank you for watching.